Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey. Oh, hey, yeah, I'm sorry. Um, please leave a message. Okay. Bye. Hey, I need your help. I know this sounds crazy. I probably sound crazy. If you get this, text me. Call me back, please. Do you hear that? Yep, thank you. Yeah. Yes. Hello. This is Detective Miller. Okay, let me tell you what happened. Well, not all of it. I don't really know yet, but yes. So, two girls checked into a room 103. Did you find anything on the security footage? Okay, perfect. Send it to me. Thanks. So it all started 4 days ago. I was with my friend Kayla. We decided we needed a break. We found a place called Desert Sky Motel. Cheap rates, far from people, and solid Wi-Fi. If you ever see a motel with room 103, don't go inside. We were 2 hours out of the city, heading west on Highway 84. There was nothing out there but old gas stations, wheat fields, and weird billboards. You know those things they have in the desert to make you feel even more lost? It was perfect. No parties, no noise. It's just us and some space. We'd been friends since college. Same sarcasm, same sleep problems, which is why we could never live together. We wanted a weekend away from everything, so we found a motel on a last-minute deal site. Private, clean, no shared walls. 5-star rating. It looked fine in photos. Retro desert vibes, nice lighting. We got there around 7:40 p.m. on a Friday. The sun had already dipped behind the hills. The air was dry and smelled like old wood and gasoline. The first weird thing was the front desk guy didn't speak. Not rude, just silent. He slid a brass key across the counter. No paperwork, no questions. 103 was stamped on the keychain. Thanks, I said hesitantly. He didn't nod. He just stared at us. Not mean, not nice, like he was waiting for something. I still remember Kayla nudging me and whispering, "This feels like we're trespassing." We walked down the hallway. It had low ceilings, carpet that sank under our steps, and a humming sound in the walls. Room 101, room 102, then room 104. Kayla stopped. Wait, what? We walked back. Checked again. No, room 103. There was just a thin stretch of wall between 102 and 104. No door, no number. Just beige wallpaper, faded like it had been there for decades. I pulled out the key. It says 103, right? Kayla was already checking the opposite side of the hallway. And that's when she said, I think it's over here. Across from room 102, in a narrow shadowed recess, was a single dark door. Thinner than the others, painted the same color as the wall. No peephole, no number. I tried the key. It clicked. Inside, the lights flickered on. Dim, yellowish, smelled like old fabric and burned plastic. The room wasn't in the pictures. No TV, no phone. Just one queen bed, an armchair, and a window with heavy curtains nailed to the frame. Kayla looked around and said, "It feels like this place was sealed off for a reason." I wanted to laugh, but I felt it too. There was a mirror on the wall, but it was warped, like something heavy had been thrown at it long ago. We set our bags down, ate chips, scrolled on our phones. There was no cell signal, but somehow the Wi-Fi worked. I texted my brother, then turned to ask Kayla something. She was staring at the closet. "What?" I asked. She didn't answer. "There's no closet," she said. "There wasn't one before, right?" She was right. The wall had been empty when we came in. There was a closet door next to the bathroom, thin, closed. I walked over and opened it slowly. Just hangers, no shelves. And a pair of shoes. Brown, cracked, with dried mud stuck to the soles. They weren't ours. We closed it, didn't talk about it. We got into bed and left a lamp on. I couldn't sleep. The hum in the wall kept getting louder, like it was closer. Not mechanical, more like whispering. I checked the time. 2:11 a.m. Then again, 2:16. And then the closet door creaked open. We both sat up, frozen. Something shuffled inside, slow. One footstep. Kayla whispered, "Tell me that's not the closet." I got up, the door was open, shoes still there. But now the mirror across the room had a handprint on it. Not ours, smudged, wide-fingered, pressed from the inside. We stayed frozen like that for maybe 20 seconds. Then I yelled, "Hello?" Voice echoing in the room. No response, obviously. But when I turned back, the handprint was gone. From the closet, Kayla and I backed away. I hit the lamp switch. Darkness. No whispering now either. Maybe it was the wind, or maybe it was just making noise because it knew we were awake. We didn't turn the lights back on. We didn't talk. I remember Kayla squeezing my arm, saying we should call the police. I remember thinking they won't come, not here, not in the middle of the night. So we lay there in the dark, listening. No footsteps, no whispering, only the hum. A few minutes passed. The buzzing seemed to fade a little. But then the doorknob started turning, slowly. At first it was barely noticeable, but then faster, harder, bang, 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 bang. Someone or something was trying to get in. And I just kept thinking, no, 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 no. Kayla screamed. I jumped out of bed and ran to the door. Locked. Thank God it was locked. Kayla was crying, saying, "What do we do?" I pounded on the door, yelled, "Get away from us." The banging stopped, then it started again. More frantic this time. Bang, bang, bang. A voice started yelling on the other side. Couldn't make out the words, but it was close. Too close. The door rattled. We held on to each other, screaming, making tons of noise. Then silence. Dead silence. Kayla and I collapsed on the floor, shaking, holding our breath. I don't remember how long we stayed like that, but at some point I started breathing again. Kayla didn't move. She was staring at the door. "Kayla," I whispered, "we're okay." She didn't respond. She just kept looking at the door. When I finally convinced her to look at me, I could see the fear in her eyes. It was awful. And all I could think was, how do I get that look out of her eyes? So I did the stupidest thing I could think of. I laughed. I tried to laugh, like everything's fine. We're okay. Haha, very funny. But it came out more like a manic giggle, not a good sound. We didn't stay in that room. I called the front desk, told him we needed to leave. He understood, came to get us. No questions. When we got to the front desk, I asked if there was another room. He shook his head and pointed down the hall. I saw a single lit-up card on the counter. Room 102. He led us down the hall. Room 101. Room 102. We stopped. The door was slightly ajar. He nodded toward it, then retreated to the front desk. I don't know what he was doing. Not welcoming us. Definitely not offering us water or another room. Went into 102. That room was exactly the same, except it had a bigger TV. In the morning, we found a welcome basket with 2 apples, 2 waters, and a note saying, "Thank you for staying at Desert Sky Motel. We hope you enjoyed your night here. We would appreciate a review on Google." The note had been folded so many times, it was practically a square. The edges were all rough. It looked like someone had scrunched it up in their hands. I took one of the apples, bit into it. It tasted like cardboard. I threw it in the trash. I'm still trying to figure out what happened in that motel room. Still don't know how to explain what happened, not fully. It's not in a way that sounds believable. All I can say is this. If you ever see a motel with room 103, don't go inside. And thank you for listening. Hello everyone, welcome to this channel. Today's story is going to scare you. This is one of our most scary stories ever. From the shadows under your bed to the closet in your room, closets are the perfect place for monsters to hide. Now let's start reading. I didn't move for a long time. I just stood there, staring at the mirror. At the handprint that hadn't been there before, it was on the inside of the glass. It's like someone had pressed their hand from within, or something was behind it. This happened about a year ago. My girlfriend Kayla and I were driving home from visiting my family. It was late, and we decided to spend the night at a motel. Nothing fancy. It was off an exit along a busy highway. It looked normal enough, but something about it felt wrong. As we got closer, Kayla slowed the car. You pointed to the sign above the door. It read, "Vacancy." She stopped the car and turned to me. "Let's keep looking," she said. "What if they're full? What if there's only one bed?" I didn't care. I wanted to get some sleep. "Let's just try it," I said. "Yeah. If there's only one bed, we can just stay in separate rooms." The lobby was empty. There was a humming noise coming from somewhere deep inside the building. The television was on, but it was showing nothing. just a blue screen with lines running through it. I walked up to the front desk and picked up the phone. Clicked. Kayla and I checked in and got our room key. The clerk didn't say a word, just gave us our key and watched us walk away. Our room was small. Everything was brown. The bedspread, the chairs, the walls, the carpet was beige, but it looked dirty. And the air smelled like mildew and chlorine. In the corner was a small flat-screen TV. Under it was a table with a phone and 2 drawers. One of the drawers was locked. On top of the dresser was a Bible and a stack of papers. I looked at them. They were old and crinkled. The papers were some kind of advertisement for the local area. The rest was blank. I pulled open the curtains. Outside was a parking lot, a few cars, the highway. Beyond that, trees. Across the way, I could see the roof line of a building. That must be our neighbor. I closed the curtains and walked toward the closet. Something was in there. Could feel it. I opened the doors. It was empty. I walked back to the bed, tried to forget about the closet. About an hour later, Kayla woke me up. "Come look," she said. She was pointing at the closet. The door was open now and the contents spilled out onto the floor. All crumpled up were those papers from the dresser. Also the Bible. I sat up in bed. "Maybe it was the wind," I said. Kayla shook her head. She didn't seem convinced. Neither was I in the morning after. We got up. I looked around the room. The only way out was through the front door. I checked the windows. They were locked. The curtains were drawn. I tried the door. Locked. I pressed my ear against it. Could hear the humming again. But now it was coming from inside the room. About then, Kayla came out of the bathroom. Her hair was wet. She looked at the door and said, "Do you think we should call the police?" "They won't come," I said. "Why not?" "'Cause we're not in danger." "If we were in danger, wouldn't we have been attacked already?" Kayla didn't answer. I didn't want to stay there any longer than we had to, so we got dressed and went to the bathroom. I washed my face and stared at myself in the mirror. The reflection stared back, but beside me on the other side of the sink was a handprint. I blinked. It wasn't there before. It was on the inside of the glass, like someone had pressed their hand from within, or something was behind it. Kayla whispered again, "Close the closet, please." Did. Slowly, but the hum in the walls, it didn't stop. It sounded more like breathing now, shallow, wet. We didn't speak. We didn't make a sound. We just laid there, side by side, eyes wide open, listening to the breathing in the walls. The sun started bleeding through the curtains. When it was light enough to see, we packed. We didn't shower. We didn't talk about what we saw or heard. I went to the front desk. No one was there. I rang the bell, waited. No one came. There was no note, no checkout instructions, not even a computer. Just a wall of keys hanging behind the counter. I scanned the rows. 101, 102, 104, 105, number 103. Our key was missing too. I left the key on the counter and walked out, got in the car. That's when Kayla noticed something. Her phone, there was a photo she didn't take. It showed me standing in front of the closet, barely visible, blurry. But behind me, in the closet's dark gap, there was a face. Not mine, not hers. Pale skin, wide eyes. A mouth too large to be real. "We need to go," I said. We drove for 2 hours without talking. No music, just the sound of the road. When we finally got back into range, Kayla checked the motel online. It was gone. No listing, no reviews. Not even a Google Maps location. She checked her booking email. Blank. No trace. I tried calling the motel number we'd used. Disconnected. I even typed the address into GPS. It just said, "No such route." That night, back at my apartment, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about that handprint, the closet, the breathing. I turned on the lights, closed my own closet. Double-checked all the locks. Kayla texted me. My closet just opened by itself. I called her. She didn't pick up. I got in my car, drove to her place. 15 minutes, her door was open, lights off. Inside was silent. "Kayla," I called. No answer. Then I saw her phone. On the floor, still recording a voice memo. "Data." The recording was faint. "Ata." But I could make out her voice. She sounded scared. "It's in here with me. It's watching me. Please help me. It doesn't like the light. Then something else. A second voice. Not like anything I'd heard before. No rhythm, no air. Just a sound like wet fabric being dragged across the floor. Then static, then silence. I hung up the phone and turned, looked at her closet. The door was closed. I stood there for a long time. Then I walked over, reached for the handle. I still don't know why. Maybe I thought I could stop it. Maybe I thought it wasn't real. I opened the door, empty, except for a pair of shoes. Brown, cracked, dried mud on the soles. Thank you so much for tuning in to another horror podcast. If you enjoy these stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you're notified every time we release a new episode. Knock at the door, a creak on the stairs. There are some sounds that can send chills down your spine, no matter where they come from. But can you imagine hearing those sounds within a recording and not being able to figure out where they were coming from? Our next narrator certainly has. He joins us today to share his experience in a story he calls The Tape. It's late at night and I'm working alone. No night shift partners, no one else around. My precinct is downtown, but our office overlooks the interstate. And it's really the only window in the whole area that actually looks out over anything. So it's kind of an odd thing to stare at while working, but sometimes I do it anyway. That's how I saw him, this guy walking along the highway shoulder. It was dark, so I couldn't make out any details except that he looked like he was carrying a duffel bag, and he kept stopping and looking around like he was lost. I watched him for a few minutes, and finally I figured I should go check it out. So I get up and walk out into the hall. I call it out over the radio. Dispatch takes the call, but nobody's responding. It must have been a bad connection, because I never even got a reply. So I figure, fine, I'll handle it myself. I pass by the evidence locker, and I remember we had a missing person S case come through earlier in the week. The girl had been missing for about 2 days, and her name was Kayla. I can't remember her last name or what she looked like, but I remember her picture was on the bulletin board outside the evidence locker. As I pass by, I glance at it, and I swear it's the same guy from the highway. I hurry to the elevator, take it down to the first floor, and then jog out to my cruiser. By the time I get outside, the guy's gone. I drive the way I came, hoping to find him, but there's no sign of him anywhere. I check the area for about 20 minutes, but I don't see anything. No one calls me on the radio, and I start to think it's probably just some homeless guy who wandered off. Just as I'm about to head back, I spot something lying in the grass by the side of the road. It's a cell phone, and as I pick it up, I recognize it. It's Kayla's phone. I put it in my pocket and head back to the station without finding the guy. When I get back, I pop Kayla's picture back up on the computer. There's a bunch of officers gathered around now, and I explain what I just saw. We immediately jump into action. One of the guys on the force calls the number from Kayla's phone and sends it off to forensics to run the serial. Another officer and I pile into his cruiser and we drive out to the same spot where I found the phone. We do a sweep of the area, but we find nothing, and we head back. That's when I first hear the audio. It was forensics. They called saying they pulled a couple recordings off of Kayla's phone. When I answered the call, I could hear it in the background. It was just static, muffled voices, and what sounded like a woman whispering. It was barely audible, but I could make out the words "help me." I immediately rushed back to the office to listen to the full recording. By now, the chief is there as well, and we gather around the computer together. It's a voicemail message, but there's no caller ID. The call came from somewhere outside of our jurisdiction, so there's no record of who made the call. We play the message back. All I hear is a whisper. I strain to listen, and it sounds like the woman is pleading for help, but there's something strange about it. I can't place my finger on what it is, but something about the recording sounds wrong. It almost feels like I'm listening to it through a closed door, as if there's something blocking the sound, making it hard to understand. We try other recordings, but none of them offer any more clues. After reviewing the phone, forensics comes back empty-handed. It was a dead end. The message was gone, and we were left with no answers. No one believed me. They thought I was making it up, having second thoughts, searching for answers where there weren't any. I don't blame them. I would have believed it too. If it hadn't happened to me, I would have thought it was some weird trick of the audio or some delusional state of mind. But I know what I heard. I know what I'm capable of perceiving. And I know that there was something fundamentally wrong with that message. Kayla's parents thought she went hiking and stopped answering her phone. The cops thought she ran off with her boyfriend and stopped answering his calls. Me, I thought she was taken.
So,
It was a deserted stretch of road out in the middle of nowhere. It was easy to miss when you're driving, especially at night. I passed it 3 times before I noticed it. But once I turned in, I saw it, a little cluster of buildings nestled against a hill. There was a sign out front that said Days Inn, but the marquee out front flickered with the words Motel 101. Beneath the sign, I counted 5 rooms, each with its own parking spot, but none of them held any cars. I made the turn, slowed down, and stopped. It was a dead end. There was nothing behind me but a stretch of desert, tall weeds, and a broken fence. I checked my GPS and the name of the place was nowhere to be found. I had no idea where I was or even how to get back, but something drew me to the place. Maybe it was the whispers, maybe it was the recorded message. But I got out of my car and walked toward the motel. I didn't sleep for 3 days. No call, no text. Her phone stopped ringing after the first night, and no one believed me. Her parents thought she went hiking. The cops thought she ran off. But I kept replaying the audio on her phone, that last message, her whisper, the voice behind it, the closet door. There was something wrong with the sound. Every time I played it through headphones, I heard something new in the background. A knock, 3 knocks. Then a long silence. Then something dragging across the floor. It wasn't in the room with her. It sounded like it was coming from the recording itself, like something on the tape wanted out. I went back to the motel, or I tried. Same road, same turn. But there was nothing. Just a stretch of desert and weeds. No driveway, no sign, no building, like it had never been there. But I wasn't crazy. I had the key. Room 103. I kept it still in my bag. That night, when I got back home, the key was gone. I checked everywhere, and I found it, lying on my pillow, like something had placed it there, like something wanted me to know it was still with me. That's when the dream started. Every night, I'm standing in that hallway again. Same smell, same lights, room 101, room 102, room 102, and between them, just a blank stretch of wall that I can hear breathing, behind the wallpaper, behind the plaster, something trapped behind the wall, watching me, waiting. I wake up sweating. Every single time to 17 a.m. Last week I moved. New city, new apartment, no closets, no shared walls. Just me, a mattress, and 1 lamp that stays on all night. But last night I heard it again. It's 3 knocks, even slow. On the far wall, the wall that faces nothing but the alley, I froze, listened. Then I heard something whisper. We remember you. I ran, didn't even grab shoes. I spent the night in my car, parked outside a diner off I-60. And when I went back this morning, the key was there again, on my front seat, sitting on top of my phone, still warm like someone had just set it down. I don't know what it wants. I don't know if I ever really left that room. Maybe that motel. Maybe it's not a place. Maybe it's a door to something older than this world. And once you've stepped through, you never really step back. I don't tell people this story to scare them. I tell it because I need someone to believe me. So if you ever see a motel with no cars, no staff, and a perfect 5-star rating from names you don't recognize, keep driving. And if someone hands you a key that says 103, do not use it because I did. And now it's waiting. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this story, make sure you tune in next week for our latest horror story. Until then, remember, some doors are best left unopened.